Letters to the Stars, A Widow's Journey from Grief to Global Poetry. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that when they leave it feels like the whole world stops breathing? That was Adora's reality. Adora was born in Enugu, Nigeria, a quiet girl with a soft smile and big eyes that always seemed to look beyond the clouds. She grew up in a small house with rusted zinc roofs, surrounded by the smell of fufu, the sounds of roosters at dawn, and her mother's sweet singing at night. From a young age, Adora was different. While other girls braided each other's hair and played with dolls, Adora would sit under the big mango tree near her house, scribbling in a worn-out exercise book her father once used to write market lists. She wrote about everything: the way the sun peeked over the hills in the morning, the way her mother hummed old Igbo hymns while cooking, and the tiny blue butterflies that danced around her window. But the brightest part of Adora's world was Chike. They met at the university in Nsukka. Chike was the loud one. The guy was like a burst of sunlight on a rainy day. He was the type who greeted everyone, from the cleaner to the professor, with a joke. He made everyone laugh, even during exams. Adora was shy, always hiding behind books. One afternoon, as Adora sat under a mango tree writing in her old torn notebook, Chike walked up. Are you writing love letters to the stars?" Adora, laughing softly, replied, "Maybe. Maybe the stars are the only ones who listen." Chike, sitting beside her, said, "Well, today, let me be your star." And from that moment, they became inseparable. They finished school, got married in a small ceremony filled with dancing, singing, and the smell of jollof rice in the air. Adora wore a borrowed lace gown, and Chike wore a suit 2 sizes too big, but they didn't care. The joy on their faces outshone everything else. They dreamed of having a house full of children. They moved into a small one-room apartment in town. They didn't have much: a wooden bed, a tiny gas cooker, and a leaky roof. But they had love. They would lie awake at night dreaming of traveling the world, of Adora publishing books, and Chike performing on big stages. They even talked about having 4 children and naming them after stars: Sirius, Vega, Altair, and Lyra. But life doesn't always follow our plans. After 2 years of marriage, Chike started coughing. Doctors said it was tuberculosis. They tried everything: hospitals, prayers, herbs. Adora sold her books, her old clothes, and even her wedding ring to pay hospital bills. She slept on the cold hospital benches, praying, writing letters to God in the stars. One rainy night, as thunder rolled over Enugu, Chike took his last breath in Adora's arms. Adora screamed into the night. Her heart felt like it had shattered into a million pieces. People whispered, "She's cursed. She should have done more." Even family turned away. Adora stayed indoors for weeks. She wouldn't eat. She wouldn't speak. She just held Chike's old shirt to her chest, rocking back and forth. Then, one night, she picked up her old notebook. She wrote, "Dear stars, today my heart is a graveyard, but maybe you can still hear me." For the first time in weeks, Adora felt lighter. She wrote again the next night, and the next. Every night, Adora wrote letters to the stars. She wrote about her pain, her memories of Chike's jokes, the mango tree, and the dreams they never got to live. Slowly, these letters turned into poems, poems filled with tears, but also with small sparks of hope. One day, her neighbor Nora knocked on her door. "Adora, you've been hiding too long. What are you always writing in there?" Nora asked. Just letters. To Chike to the stars, Adora hesitantly replied. Nora, grinning, said, Bring them, let me see. Adora was scared, but Nora took the poems and read them aloud, her eyes filled with tears. These words, they are not just for Chike, they are for all of us. You have to share them. Adora was terrified, but Nora insisted. They started posting her poems on Facebook, just a few lines. At first, only 2 or 3 people liked them, but soon, people started commenting. This saved me tonight. I lost my husband too, thank you for sharing. I feel less alone now. Adora couldn't believe it. Her pain, her deepest grief, was giving others hope. Soon, people from Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, even the UK started sharing her poems. A publisher in Lagos called her, asking to meet. Adora almost fainted. She had never been to Lagos before. She took a dusty night bus, carrying only her old notebook and a small bag of clothes. In Lagos, she performed her poems at a spoken word event. After she finished, there was a long silence. Then, people stood up, clapping, some crying. She started performing at small gatherings, then at churches, then at open mic nights in Lagos. One night after a show, a woman in a shiny gold dress ran up to her. Adora, you have to come to South Africa. We are hosting a global women's poetry event. You must come. Adora was shocked. Me? But I'm just a widow from Enugu, she asked. No, you're the voice we've been waiting for, the woman insisted. Adora used her savings from selling akara to buy a plane ticket. It was her first time flying. On that big stage in Johannesburg, she stood trembling. She thought of Chike. She closed her eyes and whispered, Dear stars, tonight I speak for all broken hearts. When she finished her poem, the hall was silent for a moment. Then it exploded in applause. People rushed to hug her, to cry with her, and from that day, Adora's poems traveled the world. She was invited to New York, London, Nairobi. She even performed in front of presidents and big celebrities. But Adora never forgot home. She returned to Enugu and opened a small poetry center called Letters to the Stars. She invited widows, young girls, street children, anyone carrying silent pain and lonely hearts, and taught them to write, to share, to heal. Adora eventually adopted 2 children, Zipporah and Chidi. She raised them with love, teaching them the love and poetry that once saved her life. She taught them to sing to the stars instead of crying to them. Today, Adora is known all over the world, not as a widow, not as a victim, but as a voice of hope. People say her poems feel like gentle hands on a hurting heart. Adora spoke softly to her kids while looking at the night sky. Look up, my loves. The stars are listening. Every dream, every tear, they hear it all. Adora's story reminds us that when life breaks us, it doesn't mean it's the end. Sometimes, the cracks are where our light shines through. So keep writing, keep dreaming, keep believing, because one day, your letters to the stars might light up the world.